Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Aitai. Such a pleasure to be here once again. Today is Friday, the 22nd of July 2022, and we are streaming from Lagos, Nigeria to West Africa, and the entire world. This is the Good Morning Education Show, and I'd like to inform you that if it is your first time connecting with us, please do not hesitate to tell us your name and location where you're streaming from, and would like to ring the bell of blessing for you. The Good Morning Education Show is a show where we seek out to touch on issues that border around learning development, works within the education world, and of course, things that will contribute to our personal and professional development. And you can catch us Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. West African time. And of course, you can also get to connect with us on the weekend special. For Saturday, it's 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And on Sunday, it is 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. all West African time. And we have one saying on the show, and that saying is that it's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show. I said once again, I'm streaming from Lagos, Nigeria to West Africa, and of course to the entire world. I'm excited to welcome you to the show. And as we discuss today and as we analyze issues today, please feel free to contribute, make your contributions. And if there are questions that you might have, please do not hesitate to ask your question. This is the Good Morning Education Show. Tell someone to tell someone that the show is on and invite others so that they can be a part of it. And as usual, we are always opportune to have guests on the show. And today will not be an exception. We're going to be having guests, and they will join us and they're going to be sharing their thoughts about the subject matter and discussion of the day. And before we go straight into that, we will begin with our usual practice where we sometimes take a look at the headlines and the conversations within and around the education sphere. Today we'll be starting our headlines, but before then I'll be bringing up someone, our guests on the show. And Light, good morning. How are you?
Hi, good morning, Mr. Rotimi. Good morning, everybody. You're welcome again to the Good Morning Education Show.
Yes, thank you so much. This is the Good Morning Education Show. And our first headline is going to be talking about Anambra State. What's happening in Anambra State? We have 25,000 applicants who applied. Well, not that they applied. It says 25,000 applicants failed Soludo's teacher recruitment exam. And thankfully, we have Rhoda in the building. Maybe Rhoda will start out that for us, and then we'll get to hear from Light. Or is it Light that will start? Because it seems like one of you is from Anambra, or both of you. I don't even know.
I'm not, I know, well, I'm not from Anambra anyway. I'm from the
Okay,
sister
so
state, not Anambra.
I am from the sister state, which is Imo State, but married to someone. My husband is from Anambra.
therefore,
I
the
am from
Anambras have it.
Anambra. Yeah, I don't think this is new. I don't think this is new. I mean, recall the other news headline
Yeah,
we had. I think this week.
nothing at all.
It's talking about the same pattern. Our hope usually is that every time we go for teacher recruitment, and I've had privilege. I don't know what kind of privilege that is to recruit statewide. And it talks about, or it reflects how poorly the education system has, let me put in these words, and I'm trying to be very careful with my words. It reflects how the education that our people have received have gradually degenerated, because we're talking about new recruits. I think this is the situation in this case. And then for the other states that we reviewed the other time, they were not really new recruits. They were just they were actually, maybe they were new recruits. I take that back. They were NCE graduates already. So it might be the same thing that we're dealing with here, and that it's a decadence of the system, the education that a lot of people have received. Because ideally, for you to be an applicant, I guess there was a criteria, and maybe the minimum criteria would have been NCE. So when I was asked, what do you remember the question we were both asked at the National Summit on Education last Sunday? And the question was if there was one thing you would do to, what's the one thing you would do? And mine really was about the teacher supply. That was what it was, because it's a big problem. As we can see, we call for 31,000, 6,000 of them pass. And that's also not actually analyzing how they passed, how well they passed. Because if the benchmark was 60% as pass mark, if everybody stayed within 60 to 70%, there is a problem still, because it depends on what that assessment was, what the items or what the questions were. So there's still something to look at, even with those that passed. But let's just say they passed. And we're talking about a state that has been known to have a good number or a significant percentage of people that are educated. That's what Anambra State is known for. Now, who on another side to it is, and I'm sorry I'm taking some time here, but another side to it is who wants to be a teacher? So it goes back to my question, or sorry, to my response about what's the thing that I would hold on to if I had the opportunity. And it would be everything about teachers, everything about teacher supply, going from pre-service to in-service, um, and really just looking at how to change the face of the profession, change the value of the profession, puts a teacher that is solid in every person's classroom, in the classrooms or wherever we find ourselves, because anywhere is a learning place. It can be under a tree or all of that, even though I don't like those kinds of things, because we're not thinking about weather. But put someone in front of the children who is supported fully to teach, competent and supported. So here is not a it's not a new story, Rotimi. I think there's so many parts I could go up and about around this, but it's a disaster. It's a national crisis, and that we can't every time at every point one and out of every five applicants fail a teacher competency test is a serious problem, and it's something we should be all worried about, because it talks about the people who are going to be educating your children. No, not other people's children, your children, including those of you who live in urban areas. I
Yeah.
know that within this month and September, there's going to be a teacher crisis in the upper private, upper middle, and wherever level schools. There will be. You will hear a school owners complaining bitterly. Already there is a crisis with the competency levels of the teachers currently in all of our schools. Look, regardless, you may be thinking about schools in the upper income bracket, upper middle, low income. There's a crisis across board. The high quality of teachers that we're seeing coming into the profession is a problem. But what we will do is that we will still keep on keeping on, because we need them to be there at least, so that some education is happening, some learning is happening, because education can't wait. So we need them in the class. That now needs to support them. So there's, I don't know, it's just a lot.
Wow. Lovely insight. So let's move on to the next headline. And this one says the federal government has secured a sum of 200 million credit facility from the World Bank to enhance the efforts at repositioning technical education in Nigeria.
I really
Good.
applaud World Bank. I do. World Bank is doing a lot for education. And maybe that's part of what they're supposed to be doing, which is fine. Are they doing enough? To be honest, I think that they're doing. Enough will always be relative. I know that the focus has been Africa and raising the next generation, where all the statistics is pointing to Africa as where we have the youngest population in the world. And those people need to be supremely educated, supported to be, to be able to deliver. And World Bank is doing a lot. And they are trying to make it outcomes oriented or counterpart fund oriented, but it's not always the case to easily access some of these things through this criteria. Because again, how many people can meet them? How many states can actually meet them? So they try to do a lot. In this case, it's about acquisition of skills. And yeah, let's just applaud it and say it's for every drop of water they say makes the an
Mighty Ocean.
mighty ocean. So
Wow, interesting. Yeah. So let's quickly move to another headline. I think we can go to the federal government partnering Korea on smart schools e-learning development.
yeah, I think all of this, e-learning, tech education, and all of that, I think they have their place. To be honest, I think this thing should be happening in parallel, right? Whilst we're still dealing with basic numeracy and literacy skills, and I would argue that we should also deal with financial literacy skills because we need people to survive. A lot of the reasons why um, people aren't getting the kind of education that they want is because they are their economic needs, right? So, and to access a better economic outlook to life, you need to be able to have certain level of competencies and literacies. And I'll argue financial is part of it. And I also argue that tech is part of it because tech helps us to leapfrog, helps us to not just leapfrog, but also helps us to access rather easier some of this. Because and as people get younger, they get better with tech. So I agree. And I really think that KOICA, that is the Korean International Cooperation Agency, they're really is beginning to support a lot. In fact, part of the project in Sierra Leone project I'm part of, they are bringing part of the funding, and they're trying to get. They're kind of like the USAIDs and FCDOs, of this world, and I think they're coming in, and they have the premise too, by the way, because in South Korea, the data is really telling us that they've succeeded in education. So, in fact, South Korea sometimes is 2 years ahead of the next the next part of the world in terms of academic performances. Of course, we know that everything is not about academic performances, but they're there, so they have the example. And smart schools, it's supposed to be 37. I think the idea is to have one in every state.
Every
I'm not
state,
sure if
yeah.
that's the case. And they've been able to do 5 or so, and their plan is to have about 19 by the end of this year or so. I don't know. But yeah, I think anything with e-learning, anything that gets more people into the space to leverage on technology and the power that technology brings to us to access to live better life. I think yes, why not? Great partnerships, and everything about education should live in public-private partnerships as far as I'm concerned when it comes to Africa, because we cannot rely on the government alone. We don't, like, we know Nigeria is insolvent, and so government cannot solve all the problems right now.
Rhoda, you've gone to that point. Welcome, KK. Good morning.
Okay.
And good morning. I'm happy I got the last bit about what Rhoda was saying. I mean, always so amazing. So, yeah.
Fantastic. So, here's someone saying on, I think, Tribune Online, it says
The person was telling
Nigeria's
market.
education system requires an overhaul. Yay or nay?
What a misleading headline. Was telling market. Okay. Sorry. I want to.
Yeah, so I haven't clicked in actually. It does need an overhaul. If I'm looking at, sorry, pots and pans, I'm trying to make pancakes this morning. Let me stop for this. in terms of just the headlines, because like I said, I haven't clicked in, then I would say it does need an overhaul. And what sort of overhaul? I think we can just follow through with some of the things Rita was talking about. The progress that we need to be looking at and revise within the anybody will revise. Bring them in as interventions really, such that we understand the fact that to get fully onto this new tangent that leads the next generation out of this slump that we seem to be living in, then can we bring in interventions to guide them there? So in that regard, yes, we do definitely need an overhaul. We need to also begin to infuse, which is where the interventions come in. Curriculum elements that currently do not exist within the teaching arena, and then see how we can also train our teams to be able to do, and not just in the private sector, to be honest, but more so in the public sector, because that's what we need to really begin to look at. So yes, on the surface of that headline, yes.
Okay, so as in that same spirit, KK, I'm going to push this to you first. We have another headline about JAM announcing cutoff mark for 2022 admission. Drum roll.
I'm going to, by the powers vested in me, move this to Rhoda.
KK, why are you doing that?
No,
I'd love to hear what you think, KK. First.
Yeah, again, I didn't click on the head. I didn't even click. But as I saw it in my head, I'm like, of course they're not going to do well. The first thing is that some technologies that have been introduced are not widespread, right? You say they don't even understand it, And then when we then look at the fact that these children are living, to be honest, in a totally different world than when we lived in. If you look at the trends, right, those scores have just generally been going down. And by now, and I'm expecting that somebody would have said, no, what is going on? What about practice is on a high? Unfortunately, right? I would rather not even say that out here, but that's the reality. If it is on a high and we're still getting these abysmal scores year on year on, then that should signal something, right? One is the snapping on of technology that people don't know. Two, the fact that the way these children are learning, and even that standardization itself. I mean, one way that Abuja, I know that there was a lady that said, I can't remember her name, and I said, I wish I could scrap all these exams. It might feel like a very strong statement to make, but the reality is these assessments no longer serve purpose that they should. So we need to maybe not scrap them, but we really do need to look at it and say, Rhoda, what's going on? I'd say how, the assessment is no longer working as the tool it should be. So those are my initial thoughts.
It was it 2 years ago? I'm not sure whether it was 2 years ago or last year, when a lot of people came out that it was like an outcry that the polytechnics and college of education had 140. Rhoda, I'm sure you remember.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's 100.
Mm-hmm.
And then the general national cutoff is 140. So I think JAM has been served breakfast in this matter. Let's
change is the fact that when they bring out these cutoff marks, they do not recognize the different dichotomies that exist in all of these different areas. So when you say 140, are we looking at it for just the south, or is it for the southwest? Is it the southeast? Is it the south north? Because there are all of these, inequities that exist even within that body, right? So we need to honestly begin to look at different pathways into the university system. Okay. So let me let Rhoda.
Thank you so much, KK. Thank you for, just helping us to frame the lay of the land. Because the background is very important for us to be able to discuss or analyze this trend. Whilst the cutoffs are going lower, and it's an emergency for us. And maybe it now leads us to really answering all these questions of what sort of education, we've been talking about what sort of education have these children been receiving? That is the root cause. Now, I would, use the example of national common entrance. Many times there's a declaration of the national cutoff. But then with the common entrance, you would see that there are other limitations, right? Or let me not call them limitations, other criteria. You have, what's that thing called again, Rotimi? Um, area of, I've forgotten what it's called. Before you enter,
Benchmark.
even with 140 as a national cutoff right now, it is jams also have their exam. The universities have their exams. So sorry, you're not going to get in. They've declared the 140, but you wouldn't get in because the universities have their own cutoff. 140 says go ahead and go and take the university's exam. That's the first level. That's what they're trying to say. You get 140, we know you get 140, you can move up. You are eligible to apply to get into taking the university's examinations. That's what it says. That's literally what it is. That's JAM's only first level entry placement for them to now go ahead and take the university's examinations. The other part to it is data and how data informs what JAMB is doing. If you are seeing dwindling, let me say it differently. 1 out of every student who took JAMB, 1 out of 5 passed. That's what he's saying. That is one out
Passed according to the benchmark.
to the benchmark.
So
Thank you for illustrating. 1 out of 5 passed according to the benchmark. That is the benchmark that they had before this particular one. It was after the analysis of these exams that they then saw the reality of the disaster on ground and set this cutoff, because what it means is that less people will go to university if they kept it at the cutoff before going into this jam. So they had to look at it as a way to get people to get into the universities. But the problem is it JAM's problem? What are they? Joint Administration and Matriculation Board. Their business is what? Setting exams, setting the criteria, assessments for entering into university and for
matriculation. Getting interested in matriculation too now.
Yes. So that's their job, admissions. So they are not saddled with the responsibility of changing the ecosystem for receiving quality education prior tertiary education. So what they're saying is that they're using the data, and by no means, I mean, look, if there is any education institution that has evolved the most in this country, is JAM. Take it from me. They leapfrog faster. They started with CBT. They did it. With this, they kept doing. They kept innovating. So you've got to give it to JAM a bit. But there is a bigger problem, and the problem is that people will not have entry as access to university. Maybe the real question is, do they really need to have access to university? But you see, you will have to create an ecosystem that serves everyone. Not everyone. Like, I am not traditionally a business-oriented person. It's not who I am. I am more inclined into academia, more inclined into research, more inclined into consulting. And I live in the space of getting a university degree. That's where I live. Right? So not everybody, but every time our institutions must speak to all of us. So there's a big problem. There's a big problem. And that problem is, what is the quality of education that our children are receiving in the universities? Sorry, in the pre-tertiary education. That is the problem. JAM rallying around to reduce this cost is precisely because it's a disaster. Who will have access to university? The question is, should they have access? Maybe the other question, should they have access to it? Maybe there's a long conversation there, because I also have divergent views there. Should they? If you are unable to, should you? Many times that answer is not straightforward. Believe me, I can tell you that. Because for some people, it is late blooming that will happen to them. But the challenge, you heard the professors the other day, people can't even construct a simple sentence, and they are in the university. The question is, should they be in university? I'd argue yes, because I've been in northern parts of Nigeria where people will say, should you be in school? You should be in school. I was just discussing with my son this morning, and we're talking about all what my son believes that colonization is still in action. Guess his example. When he goes to barb his hair, all the pictures he sees there are pictures of non-Nigerians, more white people. And he still views it as a form of colonization, because if the representation of how you look good to cut your hair is of another person's, well, I can unpack that for, because the conversation we're having was broader, much broader than that, because we're thinking about Congo and how we've been exploited. Africa has been exploited to a large degree. And I'm sorry, I'm taking time. Africa has been exploited to a large degree. People will come to your country, they will take from you, but they wouldn't equip you. Somebody will say, but it's your responsibility is the responsibility of the country to take care of you. And I'm going away from the topic, but it's still all related. But the point being that as they're taking care of you, as they're exploiting your land, they're exploiting your resources, the resources you can use, and they're not leaving you with any form of education. And they're coming, and what is coming back to you is that you will continue to live in poverty because you've been exploited, and then your own people exploit you too by not giving you quality life and education. I don't know. I've gone to many places, but yeah, let me stop there.
Darren Sola, good morning. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining.
Hi, Darren.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Good morning, KK. Good morning, Ruda.
Yeah, talking about your university matter, Darren Sola, and it's sad though, but I think we'll get a way around it, right? So let's just move to the conversation of today so we don't feel too sad. We're meant to have excitement in the air. It's the Steam FUNFEST, coming up tomorrow.
It's my mom's birthday today, actually.
Oh, happy birthday to your mom.
Thank you.
Hope she has a great day ahead. Yeah. So we're talking about ready for the Steam FUNFEST. I'm ready, and I believe Rhoda is ready, KK is ready, everyone is ready, but I'm excited about it because there comes a time where we need to really forcefully push the campaign and the mantra about certain key things that drive the learning that we're trying to push, the learning outcome that we seek as well. And everything cannot be limited, to learning within the classroom. And one exciting thing about the Steam FUNFEST put together by Niger Kids and their partners is that this actually embodies learning outside the classroom, and I'm excited it's happening, and I hope that those who are listening to us and those who will be watching the replay today would be a part of it. Let's start with KK. KK, what's your excitement about the Steam FUNFEST? KK, are you there? Okay, so Rhoda, let's hear from you then.
Oh, I was hoping Darren would speak because this is very much in Darren's domain.
Okay, Adair Sola.
Maybe Darren Sola is not there right now.
Now KK is back.
KK.
I was on the call, so actually,
yeah, of course. And me, I'm not
there right now.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I was on the call, so actually,
okay, that was the feedback. Yeah, we can hear you, Darren. This guy here.
Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes.
That was the feedback. We can hear you, Darren. This guy here.
Okay, great. So I was like, the first time Titi of Niger Kids mentioned this STEM Fest and all, I was so excited because for me, it's more like I was seeing someone actually do what I was always someone would do, right? Because for me, like I think when I posted this on my wall on online, I wrote a short story about my story, the backstory about why this was connecting with me. And I was like, I remember back in 2019, I launched like what we call STEM skills. I co-founded it with a group of other people. That startup failed for a host of reasons, but it was not for the idea. Like it was highly received. I know within the short, like couple of months that we existed as a group, like we had different things at the university. We had one thing at the university. I had one, STEM talk in an open science. This thing is called Science Hub. Is like an open layman. This thing. I had like three different things then, and one was for children. And why am I mentioning this particular one for children? It's because even as a mom, even as someone who is in the science, even as someone or that kind of play learn kind of thing with my children until that particular I was going to be a speaker at that particular open fair thing for science. And unfortunately for me, I didn't have where to put my children that weekend. So here's what I did. I got them lab coats. Of course, I'm in chemistry, so I had all the glasswares and everything like that. And I had, like, let me say, a couple of science experiments that you could do that was safe for children. The release of using balloons, carbon dioxide, and all those things. That experience till now still remains one of the, this was back in 2019 or 20. And this is till now, my children still keep raving about that particular STEM. It was in a park, right? It was at the UBA park in Unilag. So that was like, I just organized it for my children and the children of one of my friend that was going to come and listen to me to keep them busy. And till now, they keep raving about I think we did like 3-4 experiments. So they were in lab coat. I have pictures and all that. And they just keep saying, Mommy, when are we doing the next STEM outing? When are we doing the next STEM experiment? So for anyone that is listening, trust me, if you want to have that memory with your child that they are going to keep talking about for the rest of their life, this is the place to be on Saturday. Because like I always say, like before I say something about something, I must connect with that thing. And I really, really connect with this one because I know I have used this to connect with my children. I remember that when they started disturbing me a lot in 2020 about having another STEM thing, I had to take them to one of my my supervision classes in Unilag then, as in like I typically we do this thing on Saturday where we do lab practicals. So I just had to take them one of those days to school, put them in the quadrangle that was overlooking the lab while I was in the lab supervising, and let them do their thing. Just them wearing that lab coat and giving them a few glasswares. That day there was no experiment because I was going to supervise them, but I just wanted to like make them feel like they were doing some science with sand. So like that thing, I don't know how you could get a child that excited about learning, about science, aside actually taking them out to this kind of STEM Fun Fest. They are going to learn. And you, the parent, you are also going to learn because you discover that all those things that you're always telling you, all those CO2 blah blah that we keep telling you in the classroom, this is just easy. You just taking this thing and putting as a base and adding, it's just like simple logic. You see it live. And I really know, I know with the kind of what it has put in, all these things you're going to see it there. And maybe some of you will be as excited as I am right now because I have seen it happen. I'm this excited. My children, when they woke up this morning, they were like, Mommy, is today not the science? I said, no, it's tomorrow. I was still I was at my children's party yesterday in school. So I was telling some of the parents, I was like, okay, give me your WhatsApp. Let me forward it to you. We should be there. There's one of my staff that is bringing our nephew. She was like, how do I get them? I said, oh, just come and join me and all those things. So I'm excited for this. This is a step in the right direction. Enough of us just things that are not the future. Things that are not really children need to have experiential learning about science, about technology, engineering, art, and math. To have experiential learning. So when you can combine learning and fun together in one place, there's nothing more valuable than that. I so well to bringing this up because life is living my dream and I'm really happy. Thank you.
I can't hear you. Okay. I can't hear you, Rotimi. Can you hear me? KK, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Sorry about that. I said I was talking about how daring just took us on a little adventure. I felt like I was in that park as well. It's like traveling back in time. Yeah. So and it's I like to hear from you, KK. What's the excitement in the air? Are you ready for the Steam FUNFEST, KK? KK, are you there now?
While
Okay.
we're waiting for KK, the emergence of STEAM for me has been a solution to some of the answers we were looking for in education, whether it's as an answer to how we have always viewed the way children should make connections in learning, or how we were thinking about the role that co-curricular activities play in the classroom as a form of integration. STEAM is the integrated version of curriculum in action. That's what we were, that's the emergence of STEAM, and its involvement is an excitement on its own. I know that it started out as STEM and trying to make that connection, why a case needs to be made about curriculum integration, why science should meet technology, technology meets science, science meeting engineering, engineering meets mathematics, and all of them live in the universe of an artistic expression of the way we live and the way we learn. So that it also says, and that's part of the reason why it's an important thing to name things. Because once you've named something, you're able to work on it, design it, deliver it, implement it, get feedback on it, and do all kinds of things on it. So science is us. STEAM is us. Let me put it that way. STEAM is who we are. And in saying who we are is part of the problems that we've seen with in classroom learning is that it's been too theoretical. And what STEAM tried to do, or it's making a case and for us to continue to do and think about, is the role that it plays in bringing learning to life. So STEAM brings learning to life, and it presents itself as a fun way for people to learn. The way everything around us is an example of STEAM. Everything around us is an ingredient for STEAM. And so when we now bring these things together in a fun environment to continue to reiterate its place in learning, its place in industry, its place in economic advancement and development, its place in designing our universe, and its place really in making sure that we keep it as a fun thing for people and as a simple thing for people to consume. I think STEAM Form Fest in itself is an opportunity for many parents and many children whom are our target audience to see themselves thrive in life and to see that learning is fun, can be fun, and learning whilst this is fun, it can equip you to greatness. So Steam Form Fest for me is that answer. I imagine myself being a child again tomorrow. I imagine myself being in awe and in wonder of the things that the children will see, the games that they will play, the activities, the experiments they will conduct, the advancement of technology that they will see, that they'll be able to visualize their world in the way that, tomorrow is going to tell the children, this is your world. This is where you live. This is actually what's happening today. It's happening tomorrow for you. I imagine that my children, particularly the twins, will just bask in joy. So I'm bringing them really early. We're going to be very early. By 9 a.m. max, 10 a.m. we're there. And we're there for them to take in everything, to go everywhere, to look at everything. It's not about you coming to purchase anything. Please, guys, don't get it twisted. It's about the experience. It's an experience that you want your children to have. Like Demi said, her kids since 2019, I'll be 2020. They're still reeling from it. And there is something about a moment that changes, that lasts a lifetime. The Steam Fun Fest is the moment that will last a lifetime for you and for your children. So please don't miss it.
Thank you so much. KK, over to you.
Fantastic. To be honest, when I think about education, and that honestly is what education is, it is an avenue to stimulate further learning. So that means already learning has taken place or is taking place. We need to stimulate it a bit more. That is what education is. Then when we bring the fun element into it, we understand the fact that just going by research, right? Children who say that they're tired and you give them a game, they wake up and they can be on that game for the next 3 hours. They were tired, right? They wanted to go to bed. They would be on that game, and guess what would happen? They'll forget to eat. They'll forget their names, literally, and they're just there. And that's the beauty of the Steam FUNFEST, right? Being there, children will understand firsthand, see firsthand what exactly science is. When we say science is discovery, what does it really mean? They will discover the beauty of science right there in that fest. Of course, they will look at technology and how science has evolved into technological components, right? Into how technology has made things easier for everybody. And they can then begin to relate and connect with it, because guess what? It's a fun fest. It is gamified. It is fun. It is something that is memorable. And I mean, research also shows that when things are memorable, guess where it stays? It doesn't just stay in the short-term working memory, it moves into the long-term memory, which is why Darren's kids cannot get away from that last experience that they had years and years and years ago. Why? Because it is in the long-term memory. It has made an impact. It has made a mark on the brain, and not just in the brain, but even in their lives. And again, that you choose not to be at Steam FUNFEST tells me that you as a parent maybe just don't even understand the depth that your children will get to, right? The heights that your children will get to, the width that your children will cross. And the one thing that will help it easier for them is STEAM, right? It's technology. And so we need to be there as parents so that we can guide our children appropriately to those places where they need to be, right? Some children are going to explore the depths of the earth. Some are going to go into the heights of heaven. Some are going to explore the entire earth, the solar system, all of that. Just giving that sort of and begins to open up their eyes already and stimulates the need to want to be in these places. Science, math, technology is no longer something that is hard and you're running away from your teacher. No, it is something that is relatable. It is something that is fun. And so I'm making a case, a strong faith case for everybody to be at STEM. I will be there. Guns blaze, well, maybe not the guns, but I will be there.
And I wanted to chip this in. Maybe Rhoda forgot. There's actually something in store for the first 200 kids who arrive before 9 a.m. So when Rhoda was saying, well, maybe 9 to 10, I said,
No,
Rhoda.
before 9 a.m. All right, we'll be there.
So for those who are interested and who also want to get extra package or goodies, I've given you the expo now. If you arrive before 9 a.m., the first 200 who arrive before 9 a.m. will get something from the organizers. So that's another incentive, right?
Yeah, powerful one. Yeah, and I trust TT of Niger Kids and the Niger Tickets crew.
Yeah,
Everything is qualitative.
yes.
Everything. The experience is. I mean, we have what, over 9,000 registered? Believe me, it's going to be. You want to be early, take your space.
Yeah.
Have fun. Yeah.
Let's welcome Olushola Lumide. Olushola, good morning. Welcome to the show. Good morning, sir. Can you hear us? Okay, while we're waiting for Olushola Lumide, of course, events like this, people will say, well, um, would it get boring at some point in time? You bring children who have high level of energy and all that. I'm sure we need to also speak to that fact that, um, I, KK said something. Said science is discovery, and when you talk about uh, discovery, I think that in itself is enough to spring interest and generate excitement in the air. So it's not going to be a dull moment. I hope that by the time we, the adults, also get there before 9 a.m., there might be a change of heart to add prices to the adults. What do you think, KK?
Amen, amen, amen to that. I
So
definitely,
we might get lucky
like,
for those of us that show up before 9.
yeah, again. And you talked about people being bored. I don't know if you guys remember this song, to our listeners and to, of course, both of you. Come and see American Wonder. Come and see American Wonder. That's the sort of thing that we're going to see tomorrow. American Wonder. So you can't be bored, right? Because there's
Uh,
so many people out there, so many exhibitors, so many experiences. So I think we're going to see children being dragged, crying out of that venue tomorrow.
yeah, I think this attests to the fact that learning can be fun. Learning is not just something we do, but learning can be fun.
See the people that see them. They're about to be there
Hello,
tomorrow.
morning. Hope to see you
Good
tomorrow
morning.
first.
Yeah, they're going swimming now, but they're excited about tomorrow. Like totally,
Yeah.
totally.
Olushala is here now. Okay, Olushala, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Rhoda. Good morning, Kiki.
Morning.
Rochimi, good morning. Um, I think the organizer of Steam Fest should be ready to go to Abuja, to go to Port Harcourt, because I'm believing that, the excitement. Imagine if you have been used to riding bicycle and somebody puts you on a motorcycle, you don't have to pedal anything. It's seamless, it's faster, you know. I guess some of these children will get back home and tell their parents, I beg, see, the way they are doing in that school, we don't like it too. And all that. And I think it's necessary when we do things like this. I wouldn't know why that came to my mind. Sometimes back, I was talking to a group of students just on a spontaneous way. I just told one of them to bring the chair he was sitting on. And right there and then, I raised it up. I said, can you look at this chair? Which angle is this? Some of them were thinking, and I've done that in about 2, 3 schools. Even though these children are used to angle 90, angle 105, one is obtuse, the other is acute. Now, bringing the plastic shear up for them to see. A whole lot of them, if not all of them, have never thought that there is element of mathematics in the shear they are sitting on. And that some of them say, oh, angle 90. I said, no. If the back is angle 90, after 10 minutes of sitting down, you'll be having back ache. You'll be sitting straight up. I said it cannot be angle 90. And of course, anything below angle 90, that makes it worse. I said, so this is beyond angle 90. What angle is then? We are negotiating between 105 and 110. So they say, oh, you don't need to, if you are teaching them angles going forward, they can relate with something. Imagine the kind of student exploring the whole globe, even though they are just a domicile in VI, It won't leave them. Instead of somebody just saying, okay, how many continents do we have? Where is Asia? Where is Africa? Now these children like, oh, this is. So I want to, in fact, somebody reached out to me already on my this thing that, oh, that they are going to be exhibiting there tomorrow. I said, oh, that's lovely and all that. So I think this should be, and I can see this becoming an annual event. This is season 1. And the success will move it forward season 2. Then other states, other regions calling and say, sorry, we want to have it firsthand. You had it in Lagos the other time, and can we move to Abuja now? Or can we go to Port Harcourt and all that? And until we come to this point, the town may not meet the gown. Students just learning theory, and they get to the place of what they cannot really perform and all that. So I think it's a great step forward. Yes, probably something like this might not have been done in our climb, but I really want to appreciate everyone who has put this together and taken that bold step that this can be done. Like Rhoda said, I just started laughing that I wish I turned to between ages this and this again. Then by Sunday, I revert to my old age and all that. But I wish the children great time. Thank you.
You're already you're how do you feel that you're already Steam FUNFEStified, because if you're I hope there won't be network failure when you're reverting back to your old age. So you're not trapped. You're not trapped.
We use magic wand.
You know how it is when you hear Kowale. But this is really when we talk about something driving the crusade for experiential learning, I think we need to demonstrate it to the sector. When we do this, then people begin to take a cue. You see, sometimes we say impossible things, things that cannot happen or we don't really understand. But I think that impossibility is a reality that we're here to comprehend. And with the likes of Ninja Kids, with the likes of events like Steam FUNFEST, I think it will raise the bar with what we will begin to do in our schools. That's what I think it would do. And I really agree with what Olushola said. And if you like to register, if you're yet to register, not that if you like to register, you must register. Please visit steamfest.ninjakids.com. That is the link, or that is the registration. And we also know that it's possible for you to also join. For those who are probably far away out of the country, you're in Ghana, you're in Africa, some part of the world, or even some faraway parts in Nigeria, you want to watch live, the Steam FUNFEST 2022, the provision has been made for that. And I think all you need to do is to connect with bit.ly/SteamFest 2022, and you get to see everything around that. So yes, we're getting set. I'm getting set. I'm going to be there, and probably let me make my own additional incentive, right? So I'm going to be there early tomorrow morning, and I'll be willing to buy breakfast for some people. Maybe it could just be you. So I'm adding to the Ninja Kids offer.
It is me.
So, I know that landmark venue, there's a lot of, food options. So I'm coming with my black ATM card. So if you know, you know. So the bills ain't a problem. So if you come early, we'll talk on breakfast there. All right. So as we bring this to a close,
I know I'm making that breakfast. I'm making it. I have a party even that tomorrow. But so whatever it is, if it needs to come with boo boo, I will come with my boo boo.
so that's your tomorrow is like end to end enjoyment from Steam
To
Fest
end.
to Party Fest to Rhoda Fest. All right, so party shots from Rhoda, then we'll go to KK, then we'll end with Olushola Olumide. Thank you.
I am super excited. I'm sure you can tell. And I think it means a lot more to me, particularly that these experiences are rare in our climate. And many times we say things like, how wish it could be done in our country. How wish we can see something that looks like what we're seeing. Those of us who have a little opportunity to see, good things out there. This is one of it. This is a Steam Fun Fest, a Steam Fest by Nigerians for the world, not for Nigerians, for the world. Innovation is here by Nigerians for the world. Excitement is here by Nigerians, curated by Nigerians, designed by Nigerians for the world. Look, guys, we have what it takes. We have what it takes, and I'm so excited. I know my Pan-African self is coming out, but I'm so excited that we are an example for the world. And Steam Fun Fest is one of it. Is that example? Come and see how things are done, how collaboration is the language of business today. So come and see how our kids, for me, my daughter who loves science so much, is going to be in her element. And the one who loves technology so much, because two of them are like that. She loves technology so much, she's going to be in her world. And guess what? Science and technology is for all children. So my excitement is palpable. Join us tomorrow.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, KK, final words.
Education is the new oil, and technology is currency, right? So the currency to access the new oil is technology. So you cannot afford not to be at Steam Fest. It's just not possible. You have to be there. Emiga plus someone else's stuff, yeah. So you have to be there. All right, see you guys there.
Yeah, KK, please don't let me show cool. Yes, well, all road leads to Landmark Event Center, and I think the energy is high and it's quite contagious. So I believe everything. Well, then what quickly came to my mind, I hope somebody is hearing from Titi. I expected to see her this morning, but I didn't see her here. Yes, so I know she heavily soaked in the
She's packing our gift, our
good. Gift. Yes. So please check on her. Make sure she's doing fine. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So and I'll say that it's our time and it's our turn. And in Yoruba, you say our look console. Tomorrow, we'll be there. No, not that type of. I mean, in interpretation that we need. Scratch that, throw that. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. It's been an amazing time on the show today. And if you've not subscribed to our channel, please do so. Like and share our videos. Connect to every one of our analysts online. We're always here on the show. And ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to connecting with you tomorrow, virtually or seeing you physically. And of course, we'll be willing to take pictures, selfies with you to show that you met with us, the Good Morning Education crew. So at the count of 2, we're going to be saying our goodbyes. Ready? 1, 2.
It is
always great morning on the Good Morning Education Show.
Bye.